Hi, welcome to Random Rants with Storm. I'm Storm.
C Money.
That's how you're going to introduce yourself? You are super motherfucking boring. Try it again.
I'm C Money. We are doing an AMA. It's my first YouTube video, I guess. I should really be better at this, but I'm not.
Why are you awkward?
I'm always awkward.
Are you always going to be awkward?
More than likely.
To the very last video.
Probably until I die.
To the end of your life.
Yep.
Oh, you just answered that. Mandela. Okay, this is a random AMA with Storm and C Money. Hope you enjoy. Now, C Money. C Money. C Money.
What's up?
C Money. Hey, are you ready?
Hello.
Are you ready for your random question?
Let's do
Are
it.
you ready for your random questions?
Let's do
Are you
it.
sure that you're ready?
I am ready for the most random of questions. They kind of brought me in off the street, and I'm in here, and we're just gonna answer questions.
This is how we meet people.
What is America thinking, and how are we going to approach it? We'll see.
Okay, C Money. Our first dilemma. How do you feel about the younger generation and finding jobs and trying to keep them? What's the fucking problem?
You mean our generation?
Yes, what's the fucking problem here?
The fact that college tuition is absolutely through the roof. People can't afford it. You know, people are 18, 19 years old, getting out of high school, can't afford to go to school, can't afford to pay back, these ridiculous loans. So you end up with a bunch of intelligent people that work $8, $9, some, if they're lucky, $10 an hour jobs, especially, where we're at. And, the root of the problem is the fact that people cannot get a higher education because they cannot afford one. Simple.
Why can't they afford it? I mean, minimum wage did raise, right?
Minimum wage has not accurately kept up with inflation for a very long time now. Our parents' generation, the baby boomers, Gen X, they could go to school, and I'm talking about high school, and graduate and be able to get a job, buy a house, own a car, live the American dream. That's not available to us because wages have remained stagnant. We can't afford fucking school. Shit, what else can I say? Like, the generation of our grandparents could go to high school, get out of high school, and buy all of these things because, inflation hadn't hit as hard.
Speaking of our grandparents, our generation before us, and even the generation before them especially, and I'm not saying anything about anybody because I'm not really young in the way I think. I'm really set in my ways. I'm a really old school thinker about a lot of things. Might make me look stupid, but I really don't care. What do you think they think about us? I mean, you know how older people talk to us, and it's not really our fault that we have this dilemma with keeping jobs, finding jobs, having respectable coworkers, not ending up a pack mule just because we work good at our job. I mean, there's a lot of shit that just fucks up all the time.
The big, and this is my theory, but when you think of the baby boomer generation and our grandparents and whatnot, their parents fought in World War II, defeated the Nazis, defeated the, evils of Empire Japan, and they were respected.
Hard motherfucking core. Anyway.
They were respected.
Yes.
So, our grandparents' generation kind of grew up with the idea that you just respected people that came before you because they, and in reality, their parents, the silent generation, have earned that respect. Baby boomers have not, in my opinion. I'm sorry, they haven't. They grew up with this idea that you respected your parents and you respected your elders, but our generation has been more outspoken on a lot of issues, and we've come to realize that respect is earned, and we don't feel that their generation has earned our respect, and they kind of see us as snot-nosed brats. But the issues that we present to them are issues that will cripple our generation if not fixed. We can't go to school, can't get decent jobs, can't even, when people our age have to work sometimes 2-3 jobs just to make ends meet because wages are so low, and that's where we're at. So they see us as kind of snot-nosed, entitled brats, and we're saying, look, we have these issues that your generation has created for us, and we're going to let you know about it. And until things get fixed, there's going to be a lot of divisiveness between these two generations. You have a generation that thinks that they deserve all the respect in the world, and they deserve their Social Security and their Medicare and this and that, but the rest of us don't deserve anything like that. We don't deserve government benefits. We don't deserve to have any sort of help, even though the reason we're in the situation that we're in is because of you.
But to be fair, a lot of fucking actual snot-nosed fucking brats that should be moving out of their parents and everything else are just, they're acting irrational. They're being kids. They're selling drugs. They're fucking shooting each other. There's meth all over Owensboro. It's bullshit. How do you feel about the kids that are making it hard for us? Because honestly, when I walk into a fast food joint, I don't want to make that my career. It's an in-between thing if I'm unemployed, because I don't like being out of work very long, and I get treated like shit because the kid before me was going on and on and on about stupid shit instead of actually worrying about the job they're going in for. Like, oh, nah, bruh, if I ever saw this or that, yeah. Talking like that right before I get to the manager, so I'm treated like shit. I don't feel like the interview goes well. I don't even know if I can get a job at McDonald's because the motherfucker before me looked like a dick.
He may have been, he may not have been. Each person is their own, but you also have to understand that nobody's really going to be excited about going into a job that's going to pay poverty wages. If I was an 18, 19-year-old kid and
I need that job. So how do you feel about that guy that just ruined it for me? I never got a call back from a place that nobody even wants to work anyway, which is ridiculous. How do you feel about the kids that are just doing that? Because honestly, I'm 28 years old and I get treated like I'm 12. I don't give a shit how young I look. I don't care how I dress. The way I present myself is always professional in a work position, and I get treated like shit because of people acting like they're 12.
Because of people that came before you, and you feel that they may or may not have ruined what a manager or a person in power may view you as.
Yeah, and they just treat everybody like shit just because of the way you look.
That's the fault of the company that may or may not hire you. If I were to hire somebody, if I owned a company and I hired somebody and they ended up being a complete piece of shit, but they wear a nose ring, if I go to every person and say, oh, they have a nose ring, they must act like this snot-nosed little shit, then that's your fault, and it's kind of discriminatory if you ask me. If somebody's discriminating against you because of your looks, that's not because of somebody that came before you. That's because somebody that's trying or not trying to hire you is looking at you and making an assumption about you based on the way you look, not your work ethic. And that's their fault. That has nothing to do with people that came before you.
I know that, but you got to consider the sad fact, and it has really proven itself to be a fact so far, that it doesn't matter if it's discrimination or not. It really doesn't fucking matter. So what would you have to say to those kids that are making us all look bad? Because honestly, the older generation is going to keep thinking that way. A lot of people are going to keep thinking that way because of them. So what would you say to that kid that went before you? What kind of advice that they would actually listen to?
I would have to say that I'm sorry that your parents failed you, and I'm sorry that you ended up in the situation that you're in.
That's harsh.
But if we're going into why these kids are the way they are, and everybody's, doing hard drugs, and everybody's, doing this or that, younger kids are turning to sometimes meth and heroin, get them help. Don't lock them up. Don't sit there and take a nonviolent drug offender and say, oh, you're a little piece of shit. throw you in a can and, make you go to court and go through the system and this and that. Give people help. If you see a young man or woman that is struggling, the first thing that we automatically assume is, oh, well, they must have a rough childhood. They must have, help them. Don't lock them up and don't treat them like they're not worth anything. If you have somebody that, now, if you're looking at it from a company standpoint, they can't very well do that. But as a society, we can take a look at this young man or woman and say, okay, why are you troubled? What can we do to help? What can we do to change your outlook on life? Instead of looking at what we can do to punish you and get back at you, Help
I
these
respect
kids.
that, but what if it's a little bit past that? What if they're just doing it to do it? I know I have friends that are like way fucking up, and it's fun to them. They don't care. It's just them. It is their decision. I know people that their parents are wonderful and they should be way better than the way they are, and it is their decision, and they're going places before me, ruining things for me, coming to my place, bringing drama, making me handle this in my life when I shouldn't even have to tolerate it. What do you have to say to them that you think they'd even hear, and do you even give a fuck if they'd listen?
I think that, well, first of all, if anybody's bringing drama into your home, whether they're a friend or not, that has to be addressed with them. And outside of just removing that from your life, I don't know how else you could expect to solve the problem other than...
Well, you're always
going
to deal with your friends.
Course,
it doesn't matter what drama. You love them, they're your friends.
But as far as that part of our generation as a whole, I think that, our generation is faced with a lot of issues that people haven't seen before or come across, before, and they don't quite know how to handle it. And our generation is kind of repairing itself, trying to. At this point, people that are underadvantaged, people that don't really know how else to make it other than selling drugs and doing what they can to get by. These are problems that our generation has to address, even though they weren't necessarily caused by our generation. We're the ones that are going to have to pick up the pieces, so to speak. And I think we're still trying to figure that out. I don't know. I don't think there really is a definite answer to that question. I don't think that it's all black and white. I think that where we're at now is we just kind of have to take what we've been given and build from it and understand that the people that came before us did not do a good job with leaving something behind for the future. We're destroying our planet. Climate change is real, and if you seriously don't believe that it is, then you're a fucking moron. But
the glaciers in Antarctica are literally melting.
We are at a point where
okay.
if we don't change the way that we are treating our planet within the next 50 some odd years, then our planet's going to have irreversible damage done to it. And
it already does.
We are at a point now to where we're trying to work with clean energy. We're trying to find ways around coal and other sources of power and energy that are absolutely destroying our planet. And until we find a way to do that, it's just going to keep happening. But also keep in mind that the people that came before us kind of just left us with this. This is what we have now, and now people that are our age are responsible for fixing it. What are you going to do? I mean, there's no use in going up to an 80, 90-year-old person, let's say even a 60, 70-year-old person and saying, hey, your generation kind of fucked this up for this. They don't give a fuck. They're not far from death. They don't care what they're going to leave our planet with. They don't care what they're going to leave for their grandchildren and the people that have the people that are going to come after us. It's a throwaway culture. You know, they got what they want. They're going to die. They don't have to be around to see the damage that they're going to cause. That's where we're at. I would go as far as to saying that if the older generation has a problem with the way that our generation wants to fix things and try to make things better, then they shouldn't have left the world in such a mess for us. They left us a mess to clean up, and we don't quite know what we're going to do with it yet, but we got to do something. Otherwise, our kids and our grandkids are going to live with a world that's going to be dying. That's where we're at.
I personally got to say that this random rant, it was an AMA, like I've already announced, was not a hit at or a swing at or even a sucker punch at the older generation. This is just our opinions. It is not against anybody else. I think in general it's just basically people, in general, not our older generation, not the newer generation. Just, I understand that a lot of people left the younger generation with a lot of shit to deal with, but also it's as a whole. People just need to kind of come together to change shit, and they don't want to because people are lazy, but random question change. See, Money.
What's up?
Are you ready? Random question change.
Let's do it.
Why the fuck are we paying for electricity? Honestly.
Because it costs money to generate it, to power millions and millions of homes.
Does it really? Are there other things we could be checking out? And honestly, the answer is yes. Why aren't we?
Because people are greedy.
People or the government? Hardcore question. You can say it.
Capitalism.
Capitalism. Is that all you're going to say? Do you plead the fifth?
No. I mean, we live in a capitalistic society where everybody is meant to fend for themselves, and the poor get poor, the rich get richer, and there's nothing we can really do about that.
What's the problem with that? Because people that are way better off than us really don't see a fucking problem with that.
Well, I mean, people that are way better off than us, odds are they made their money by exploiting the work of people that are like us. Poor. Nobody earns $1 billion. Do you know how long it would take for you to earn $1 billion if you made $10,000 a day and spent none of it? A long ass time.
I don't think I could spend none of it. I have to eat.
I don't think that you could spend $1 billion in 10 lifetimes or more than that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, but people find a way.
Even
really.
I mean, even living, moderately, living a minimalistic lifestyle, you could make $1 billion last for a long time. Nobody earns $1 billion. People get rich. People get poor. That's just how it is. That's why you pay for electricity, because somebody out there has made billions off of it, and they are not going to make it free for you.
Okay, so why are we paying for water? And do you think it is because people are selfish and would use the shit up? Because there are literally states going through water rations because they are running out.
Well, I mean, the world could never run out of water. It's scientifically impossible. But there are a lot of...
It can be depleted.
Well, we have the water cycle, and we have the oceans. It's impossible to run out, but it is possible to monetize it to a point to where it becomes unavailable for certain people. Have you ever noticed anytime there is severe weather, a hurricane, flooding, you go to wherever you go to shop, all of a sudden a 24 pack of bottled water is $50?
Yeah.
It's because people need water, and people that want water bad enough are going to pay $50 for that water, and somebody's going to be making a lot of money off of that.
Are you scared of what you drink from your tap and why?
I mean, I don't really drink from my tap. I never really thought about it, but
You're a liar.
I don't drink from my tap a whole lot. My wife is pretty hardcore about them bottled ass waters. I don't mind either way though. I don't give a shit.
Are you ever scared about what's put into your bottled water? Because I know you've noticed the taste. It doesn't taste like water. It tastes like chemical.
I'm not educated enough on the topic to be able to provide an answer, but I will definitely do some research and maybe get back with you on that, because that is something, what's in our water, people? Who knows?
These are questions we need answered. How many times do you think it's actually sanitized before it comes to us?
I mean, I don't know how our local treatment plant does it, but I will definitely do some research on that. If you want to talk about water, we'll talk about water. I'll do as much research as you want me to do. I'm open-minded enough for that.
So, awkward, random session. Yeah? Alright, guys. Sorry. Horrible first video. I think we got a lot of shit off our chest. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say so.
This has been Random Rants with Storm, and
See money.
hell yeah. Peace out.